I threw away my vision board and now I help women achieve their goals. How can that be? If you want to know how, watch until the end. Hello, my name is Paula Bresson. Welcome to this channel. So what I'm going to attempt to do is show you 3 problems with that strategy, right? Because if you're thinking of drawing a vision board, is because you're trying to achieve something. And I actually wrote a book about this on how to achieve your goals. So I'm gonna try to point out things that you probably understand a lot better if you read the book. Let's get to it. Well, the very first thing that I think why I decided not to use that strategy anymore is because I don't think it's a good strategy. Why? Because when you're thinking about vision boards, you're thinking about the fruits you want for your life, right? In my system, this is what I call the result of things that you want. Like after you achieved your goal, it's the fruit that comes with it, right? So when you're thinking about a vision board, you're thinking about the fruits, but there's no strategy behind it. So in the book, what I call this type of processes that actually happens in many different ways, the vision board is just one way that can happen, is a well-dressed desire. That's what I call it, okay? You have a desire that looks good enough and that looks something worthy of your attention, your time, your energy, but you don't have any strategy behind it. And in the book, I tell you how to transform that into a measurable target in order for you to have a greater chance of succeeding in that pursuit. So that is the very first reason why, because you're looking at the fruit when you have a vision board, but you skipped all the processes before. You skipped preparing a fertile soil for it. You skipped what's the seed level of that desire that you have out there. What could be a measurable target in order for you to be able to achieve it? So all in all, I just think it's a bad strategy, okay? That's the first reason. Well, what's the second problem? The second problem is that oftentimes we don't really know what we want. And I say this with a broken heart behind this conclusion. Because in the past, if you Google my name out there, you will see that in the past, when I was a musician, I was a singer and an actress, I achieved great things. I mean, I was on newspapers, all television shows that Brazilians can think of. I was on great musicals. I worked with amazing directors. I was doing the thing that everyone would like. For an artist, if I was gonna have a vision board, I mean, I think that singing to like 50,000 people could be a good image there, right? Well, that's what you'd think. Because once I got there, I didn't feel what I expected to feel. I wasn't living how I expected to be living. And actually, it is the reason why I built the system, because after I started realizing that there was all these things that I was putting my energy towards, and a lot of these things that they didn't really even belong to me, they were things that other people sometimes thought was the natural path for a singer to be in, or they will have this image of the perfect situation, presented to us on movies, nowadays social media, and we buy that. And we think that's gonna give us happiness and fulfillment and love and enjoyment. And what happened in my case, and when I say we don't really know what we want, is I thought I wanted all that. I thought I wanted to be famous. I got very close to what everybody thinks is success. I was miserable. Miserable. Because none of the things that I achieved gave me any of the things that I deeply wanted. And I didn't even know that. So the truth is that in general, we don't know what we want. And so you can paint as much as you want in a drawing board. If you don't really connect to what you want in the first place, you ain't never gonna get there. Then the third reason. Now, the third reason is a much deeper level, and it's the most important one. So let me ask you the question, and I even made a drawing here because this is so important. When you're looking at that vision board, right, and you have all these fruits that you want to accomplish, who is the agent of that accomplishment? Is I, right? So I'm placing the images there about what I want, what I think it's important, what I care for, what I see as something good. So like I am being the agent. I am being the one proclaiming that to be the most amazing thing for me and to everyone else around me, right? I am the agent, right? And all the way up until 2023, I lived like that too. I was the agent until I found Christ. And I discovered that I don't want to be the agent. You know, if I can be honest with you, all I want is for him to be the agent in my life. And that changed my perspective. And when I saw that, and listen to me, you will see a lot of people in the Christian community using this type of tools and not thinking like this. So I am not saying that I'm right, but given my background and my deep curiosity for knowing and understanding things, I can tell you that from all my research, I don't know if you know, but I did graduate in theology and I keep on evolving in that manner. And my curiosity took to a place where I understood that where did this idea of envisioning something, where did these things come from? But just to make this very plain and simple, watch until the end, like, because even if you're not Christian, you're gonna want to listen to the turn that this had in my life. So when I understood that God is the one to be the agent, because he really is the agent. You know, if anything has agency in this world, it is God. And I decided to surrender to that, to let God do what is his will. So the questions became different and the vision became different, because now it became about what he wants and what he cares for and what's important for him, right? And I decided to give in to that at that time. And it's been a roller coaster ride, because once I did that, the most incredible thing happened. And I gave up all those tools. I gave up my vision board. And I said, Lord, may your will be done in my life. I want your vision. He gave me a vision. So this is the wild thing, because I'm here to tell you that I threw away my vision board. But what came after that was God's vision to my life. So isn't that crazy? God is just amazing. He gave me a very clear vision. And let me tell you a couple things that's very interesting about that. Well, first of all, his vision for my life is so much greater than any boards that I could ever draw, because I just couldn't envision that for me. I just couldn't. The time when he gave me the vision, I was still exiting my artistic career, and my identity was very much rooted into being an artist. And he gave me a vision that had nothing to do with that. Like, I was actually a lot closer to what you're seeing now. A lot closer, but not quite there yet, but I'm getting closer. And when we put God in the picture, his desire for us is a lot greater than what we could ever imagine. And I already had systems in place, right? So he had already given me strategy in order to move forward with a lot of things. He started asking some wild things because when he gave me the vision, I was living in America, right? And he was very specific with that vision, so specific that I could put in a vision board, meaning I could actually make a picture of that, but I don't. And I don't need to because he placed it in my heart. I don't need a vision board because, and oftentimes, and I'm going to tell you this, it is hard pursuing a vision like that. It becomes your purpose and it becomes your calling. And that comes with a lot of challenges. So if you don't have structure in order to do so, the type of things that you're going to face, you're going to struggle more than you could, right? And he started asking me for things that are like wild, because he revealed to me that the vision that he gave me is in Portugal. And I was living in America. And I'm like, oh, whoa, wow. So like, what now? So now I moved to Portugal. And I mean, like, everything that I have created had been in English, my whole entire company. It's an American company, right? And he placed me here. And I'm still figuring that part out. Because so then this came out just recently, the version in Portuguese. It's my first language. But I've never done this because when everything came about, I was in America. And now he put me here in Portugal. I had never thought about coming to Portugal, nevertheless living in Portugal. And I had never seen the beauty of this place. This place is beautiful. Honestly, I would throw away that vision board at any time. Do you understand now? So, yes, this is my view on this subject. I know that it's, about the strategy that God gave me with the SPC system is that life is not only about one area of your life. Everything encompasses your being. So your spiritual life, your work life, your family life, your creativity. It is very hard to talk about strategy, to talk about goal setting, talk about any of this, and not stepping into the spiritual world and spiritual realm, right? So, yes. Well, if you want to know more and if you want to acquire the book, it's on Amazon, and you can also reach out at my website. There's a ton of cool things over there, ton of freebies that you can achieve. There's a free assessment that helps you to understand where you're at in the moment in order to make that picture a picture worth pursuing, right? So that you don't make a picture of something that later will leave you empty. Don't strive for things that will make you empty. And if you want this strategy in order to find things that will actually give you fulfillment, reach out and grab a copy of your book. I'll see you in the next video.